This video for Breaking Down the Ring is brought to you by Chawla Legal Group Estate Planning. Estate planning is for everyone. Whether you're worth $4,000 or $40 million, estate planning can help protect you, your family, and your assets. To register for an upcoming free workshop today, go to chawlalegal.com/workshops or call 586-273-7157. Hurry, seating is limited to 6 per workshop.
What's up, everybody? We have so much wrestling to talk about this week. We have Evolve 131, the 10th anniversary, aired live on the WWE Network. We have Fight for the Fallen from AEW, WWE's Extreme Rules, and then the finale of Extreme Rules on Raw and SmackDown this week. We will get into all of that and more this week as we
break the ring down.
Woo! You don't know what hard times are, Daddy.
The cream will rise to the top. Oh, yeah.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
You just made the list.
This right here is a family.
Hey, this is professional wrestler and professional podcaster Colt Boom Boom Cabana.
My name is Killer Cross.
This is The Smoke Show, Scarlett Bordeaux.
What's up, guys? The After Machine, Brian Cage.
This is Ryan from Pro Wrestling Tees.
Sadly, you are not listening to The Art of Wrestling, but you made a decent choice because you're listening.
You are now listening to...
And you're listening
And you're listening to
You listen to Breaking Down the Ring.
Breaking Down the Ring.
Breaking Down the Ring.
Breaking Down the Ring.
Breaking Down the Ring. Break it down.
Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
You are listening to the most inappropriate pro wrestling show in the motherfucking world. You're listening to Breaking Down the Ring, and we are your ring crew.
Back and blacker than ever, Smitty.
Z. Nikki Cross.
And me, the almighty one and former ring crew champion himself, Mikey.
So,
Nikki
Fights!
Nikki Cross, really? Really? That's what we went with today?
hey, look. Wait, can we all say a happy birthday to our own almighty one tonight?
Apparently, according to the sign behind me,
Which is not in full view.
no, you can. It says our birthday.
Yeah.
Happy
it's
day of birth.
Congratulations on surviving abortion another year.
You can only survive abortion once.
Shut up. let me have my moment.
I mean, you can try and it's called murder after that. We're not going to go into
Great job on not
after
dying.
You're born is 100% murder. So
Okay, happy anniversary of surviving the abortion.
there you go, man. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Drink to me.
You're here.
So there's a lot of fucking shit to talk about this weekend, and we're still probably going to fly through it. We made the bet with knockouts and 3 counts regarding Evolve 131, the WWN champion JD Drake versus the Evolve champion Austin Theory. We lost.
Hey, we can't win them all. See, how many wins do we have compared to losses right now
Look,
as
it's
a group?
fine. We're not supposed to be undefeated, you know. Even Goldberg wasn't really undefeated. Even fucking Asuka for her streak.
What are
she
you
had
talking
lost.
about? For like 3,723 matches, Goldberg was undefeated.
Those are fudge numbers like WrestleMania.
That was
Thanks for breaking that down for us, because not a single person really knew that. Look, there is like so much wrestling that happened this week. Like we said, Evolve 131, Fight for the Fallen, same day on Saturday. Extreme Rules happened on Sunday, and then
G1's
Monday
happening
and Tuesday were the Raw and SmackDown to follow up for them. Look, that's basically what we're really gonna get in. So I'm gonna turn this now. I can finally turn this real. As we said, Evolve 131 kicked off the weekend at same time-ish as Fight for the Fallen. But we want to start with Evolve 151 because it pertains more to our show. We had a conversation with JD Drake last week, the WWN champion who did lose to Austin Theory in the co-main event, obviously right before
Adam Cole, Akira Tozawa.
Adam Cole and Akira Tozawa did for the NXT champ. I was trying to think of the championship. For some reason, it just blanked on me. I'm like, it's not the cruiserweight champion.
It's the title while you're standing up at my wedding, remember? God damn it.
You know, whatever. It's just how it goes. Better?
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Nick's being, for some reason, the headphones are messed up here in the studio. It's one of the very few times there's a problem. So I couldn't really hear myself at all. Nick, however, has a pretty decent set of headphones, and he knew that I was a little low. So I apologize to anyone listening. But let's get into Evolve 131. Now, we ran a poll on our Twitter, at BDRcast, folks, if you want to follow that. And the poll was, what was the best wrestling show? And originally, I fucked up, and I only put on the 3, Evolve 131, Fight for the Fallen from AEW, and Extreme Rules. Well, then I went and I put on another poll today, and it included New Japan Pro Wrestling's G1 Climax 29. And that is the lowest. The G1 is at 7%, which, to be fair, is also probably the least watched. I personally feel that if I was watching the show, when I was watching the show, the little bits that I saw, I can't honestly speak to it because I haven't watched the entire thing, but the bits that I saw, I feel were better than anything else on the weekend.
But one part of it is like the G1 is hard to get access to unless you actually have New Japan World.
I do have New Japan World. It's just there was so much fucking wrestling to watch.
The first night of it was on Access. I watched it at my
Yeah, but that was
buddy's
the part that was in America, which there are certain people that were not performed, like more specifically John Moxley.
Yeah.
And so I put up a poll originally, like I said, of asking what was better, Evolve 131, Fight for the Fallen, or Extreme Rules. And then the new poll was adding New Japan's G1 Climax 29. As it stands currently, like I said, the lowest is New Japan World at 7%. 13% of the people feel Fight for the Fallen was the better of the shows. 27% feel Evolve 131 was the best show of the weekend. And 53% of the audience voting in this poll chose Extreme Rules. Now, if I'm going back to the original poll, 57% said Extreme Rules, 25% said Fight for the Fallen, and 18% said Evolve 131. So the way I look at it, Evolve and Fight for the Fallen are basically around the same. Overwhelmingly, Extreme Rules is what everyone was feeling was the best show of the weekend.
Fucking WWE marks.
So, Evolve 131 started off with Josh Briggs over Anthony Green by pinfall with the M6, which is the name of his chokeslam, chokelift powerbomb finisher. Stephen Wolf over Kurt Stallion, Harlem Bravado, and Sean Maluda by pinfall after he hit that 450 splash on Harlem Bravado. Arturo Ruiz, Huaz. I was pronouncing it wrong.
It's Huaz, yeah.
Over Anthony Henry by pinfall with a reverse roundhouse. Underrated match. Like I said, we'll get into all this. Brandy Lauren, friend of the show, stays undefeated in Evolve as she goes over Shotzi Blackheart by pinfall. And then Babatunde went over Colby Carino with a big splash.
Squash.
And AR Fox, another friend of the show that we have had the privilege of interviewing with Leon Ruff in the Skull, went over the Unwanted, Eddie Kingston, again another person we have talked to, and Joe Gacy, who were the champions, and they are now the brand new Evolve Tag Team Champions. Matt Riddle over Drew Gulak with a Gotch Tombstone Pile Driver.
Catch Point.
The Catch Point reunion match, as they called it. Thanks, Smitty, so much for never shutting up. And then there was a special announcer, Jeremy Irons, I don't remember his fucking name. I do remember Irons. He came out, and he couldn't talk. And then the lights went out, and the lights came back on. And ladies and gentlemen, Paul Heyman was in the 2300 arena, the old ECW arena. And he cut a really good promo, saying that there's been many times that he had been invited back to the ECW arena for different things. Most likely House of Hardcore was probably one of those, Tommy Dreamer's promotion. And he said that he just didn't want to come back because he didn't want to go back to where he came from. He constantly wanted to move forward. He goes, but this is something that they did not invite him to. And the crowd started booing. He goes, no, they didn't invite me because I always say no. I asked to come and I asked to be a part of this because 10 years from now, when you're watching this match on YouTube, it is going to start off with the special guest ring announcer, Paul Heyman, and you're going to see how much of a special match I felt it was. The reason why I'm doing this. And that was the Austin Theory versus JD Drake match, which Austin Theory went over JD Drake by pinfall with the Ataxia finisher that he has. And like I said, he retained the Evolve World Championship and he became the new WWN World Champion, to which he cut a promo after. And he was standing on the WWN Championship, just like he said. He said, if I win this, I'm going to throw it in the trash. Doesn't fucking matter. Then Josh Briggs comes back out and he hits Austin Theory with the choke slam. And then the final match was Adam Cole defending his NXT championship over Akira Tozawa with the last shot. And then Johnny Gargano came to ringside during the match and then cut a nice little promo after the match talking about this is how everyone really seems to get their little start in the business. It seems like Evolve is the jumping point, which has been true for other people that are on different wrestling promotions. You know, Fight for the Fallen featured Darby Allin, who has been in Evolve. You know, you've seen Priscilla Kelly. She's blowing up on Twitter from, you know, things that are considered raunchy and stuff. We're just like, oh, wow, there's another fucking wrestler.
Sudden Kiss.
You know,
Keith Lee.
These are all people that they don't just jump from Evolve anywhere, like to NXT, like, you know, Smitty was mentioning Keith Lee and stuff. They go to other great promotions, too. And AEW is a great promotion. You know, it's got a lot of steam under it, and these are people that basically got their main jump there at Evolve. Orange Cassidy, like we talked about last week, is now a major part of Evolve. He was at Evolve 132. So let's kick this off, man. As far as a pay-per-view, Nick, we're going to kick off with you. How were you impressed by the people? What stood out the most to you? What do you want to talk about with it the most, actually?
I'm not going to lie, I didn't watch the majority of it. I did catch two of the matches. I caught the JD Drew match because, you know, Drake. Sorry, I'm getting used to the guy. That was a good match. He, you know, you guys kept talking about how, especially him, he talked about how he has this body type that, you know, you wouldn't expect to see those kind of moves and the kind of athleticism from a guy like that, and it's crazy to see, you know. And I thought that was a really good match. I did see the one with Shotzi Blackheart. I kind of have a little crush on her now. Yep. So
that fucking spot. Wow.
The chair.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. But for the most part of it, those are really the only two matches I did have a chance to catch.
Z, what were you able to catch from Evolve 131?
Nothing except for the clip of the girl jumping into the chairs.
Shotzi Blackheart.
So Smitty.
I think me and you are the only two that watched the whole show. Probably.
Right. I honestly believe so.
So, what a match that stood out to me, because I'm a fan of tag team wrestling. The whole AR Fox and Unwanted match, that stood out to me because
the Skull versus the Unwanted.
Yes, that one stood out to me because AR Fox has been with Evolve for a long time and
first ever Evolve champion.
So that one kind of stood out to me because it was like I didn't expect any titles to change. I expected
really.
One had to change.
Okay, one had. Besides the one that had to change.
That's why I was.
Okay, so outside the one that there was going to be always one title change, but I didn't expect like those tag titles to change because I get it. It's like honestly, Evolve is one of those places where if you got champions, until you feel like somebody's actually earned the right to get those championships, they're not just going to change hands willy nilly. So to see, to actually see those titles change hands on AR Fox, who's a veteran with Evolve, and one of the younger guns on Evolve, was really cool.
Leon Ruff is actually a Detroit native. It's amazing.
Well, I just found it out yesterday.
when I was at the Livonia show, Evolve 127, he had a crew there. And yeah, so how did you just watch it yesterday?
Oh no, I didn't.
Because they announced him from Detroit, Michigan.
They announced him from Detroit, Michigan, but I think I was like in the middle of doing something during the intros, and I was making sure I made it back to my phone for the bell.
He had a great spot during that match where he did the dive, the senton over the corner of the ring post, landing, going through a table that was it Gacy that was outside?
That was Gacy.
Yeah, he went through Gacy, and then Kingston took the pin from AR Fox, and then he came back in to celebrate. I did like the selling by Leon Ruff. I agree with you. He sold, even like during the celebration when they were trying to, the fucking rest of the Skulk had to push him in the ring to get him in there to celebrate, and he wasn't really doing much as far as the dancing and everything inside. Yeah, I agree that tag match definitely.
That was the one thing that stood out to me. Like, say, once again, in that spot in that women's match, I didn't care for the finish, but that one spot where she.
Why didn't you care for the finish?
Because I think it was more so to production quality of how he did the finish there. You didn't really see.
Did you just say the production quality of the indie show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, once again, that was me nitpicking at it. It's like pretty much she got beat with the kendo stick and just took the pin, but you didn't see any of that really. All you saw was a couple shots, and you saw Anthony Green, and then next thing you know, the bell's ringing.
Okay. You're saying that you wish the camera was in better position.
Yeah.
So not the production value, the camera angle.
That's the part of production.
Yeah, but if the director's calling for the wrong camera, I understand what you're saying. It's weird. This is the first time I've watched a JD Dre match, and I didn't think it was the match of the night. And it's very fucking close, but I will say the match of the night is probably something super surprising to anyone who is a normal listener of our show, to you guys here. Fucking Riddle over Gulak, man. I thought
Catch point.
I thought those two.
I'm not even surprised.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people say I've never said I don't think Matt Riddle is good in the ring. I hate the character. I don't. I'm never.
It's cool.
going
You
to,
don't smoke weed. We get it,
Bro.
Yeah, that's really it.
Come on, bro.
He's a less extreme
I sit back
RVD.
and I'm just like, but here's what's crazy is I'm all right with Fast Time at Ridgemont High. I love Spicoli. I fucking don't like Matt Riddle. It's basically the same fucking character, you know?
Yeah.
Just one is
much.
very fucking way more athletic and doing shit in the ring. I can't argue Matt Riddle's skills. I also cannot argue Drew Gulak, who is so good, so underrated because he's on.
But we've
he's
been
on
saying that since the Cruiserweight Classic.
I'm sorry. When people try to knock 205, I'm actually a watcher of 205. 205 is probably some of the best wrestling
But no one's knocking
in that
205
company.
Live anymore.
Yeah, nobody.
No one has knocked 205 Live since
Triple H
took it over. That's when before that, when Vince was running it, that's when people knocked 205 Live.
And they never knocked the wrestling part of it. They knocked the gimmicky part of it.
Yeah, and it was cruiserweights or not being able to do as much as they should have been given the freedom to do.
Earlier,
205 Live is amazing, and that's why I feel that this match stood out, and I'm really hoping that anyone who also watched this show got a lot out of that and hopefully will then move over to 205 Live. Because Smitty's a regular watcher. I throw 205 Live on when I'm sitting down going, all right, I'm kind of done with everything. I'm going to watch 205 Live, which is weird to say because I should watch it more often. Because every time I watch it, I'm just like, this is so fucking good.
Yesterday's 205 Live, the main event was Chad Gable versus Gentleman Jack Gallagher, and those guys put on a fucking clinic.
Oh,
and
so all the guys, I'm wondering where the hell they are. They're on 205 Live.
Oh, no, they're going back to NXT. One or the other.
Well, but I watch NXT.
So, yes, Matt Riddle and Drew Gulak was great. I felt the match of the night, but JD Drake versus Austin Theory. You know, first off, JD Drake on our show last week, great fucking conversation we had. I think we are all in agreement that's probably one of the best conversations we've had with anybody that's been on the show. But at the same time, it's not like he just was a part of our show and then disappeared. He likes tweets that we have said about him. He's retweeted tweets. He commented when we were talking about how he lost the match. He apologized. You know, obviously, you know, it's not all his fault. You know, I honestly, the reason I was so dead set that man was going to win is because I thought Austin Theory was about to move up.
I think this is just proof that
so maybe it's the other way around.
I say maybe this is just proof that Austin Theory is going to be the guy to carry the company until they find another face that they think is.
No, I also don't think it's the other way around. I don't think JD Drake's the one moving up.
Why?
I still think Austin Theory is going to move up, but we still have a couple weeks until we get to SummerSlam. You know, and SummerSlam is the next NXT takeover. It's very possible you see Austin Theory show up there and then lose later and then come to NXT.
Yeah, but you would have read about that in a spoiler because I'm pretty sure they have everything taped up into SummerSlam.
No, I'm talking about at SummerSlam. I'm talking about at NXT TakeOver.
Oh, at TakeOver.
I could see him being in the crowd with that Evolve and WWN Championship. I could totally see that.
But don't they're really terrible about keeping that type of stuff under wraps for the most part.
But he's not. But I'm saying he's not moving up yet. He could show up with both belts.
They'll like tease it.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
It's like Bobby
you see
Roode
Street
showed up a
Profits
year-
all over Raw, Extreme Rules, and everything like that.
Yeah. Like
They're not moving up.
Like Bobby Roode showing up a year before he actually got into the ring.
Exactly.
But there was already rumors that he was in talk with WWE at
But
that
he's
point.
a much bigger fucking name.
But
dude.
they
It's
showed
like-
him. They showed him once in the crowd, and then you're like, "Oh wait, where's Bobby Roode?" Like you had second thoughts about it. You thought, and everybody thought for a second, like, "Oh, he really was just there to see the atmosphere. Like he didn't sign." And then, the next takeover, his music hits, and here we are.
Exactly, and that's why I don't think he's staying in Evolve, but I could totally see him being the guy that they're putting on television with the belts, is what I'm saying. And he said that he was going to show up on NXT with the Evolve Championship, so it's still very possible that he could do that. Now, Fight for the Fallen happened the exact same day, and I'm going to be very honest with my critique here. I think that it was better than Fyter Fest, but barely. Nick, we're going to start with you for this one as well, but let's talk about the matches. Sunny Kiss defeated Peter Avalon on the pre-show. Britt Baker and Rio took on Bea Priestley and Shoko Nakajima. And we saw that Nakajima and Priestley went over Baker and Rio. Jimmy Havoc, Darby Allin, and Joey Janela versus Sean Spears, MJF, and Sammy Guevara kicked off the show. And Spears, Guevara, and MJF defeated Darby Allin, Havoc, and Janela. Allie versus Brandy Rhodes. Allie went over on Brandy Rhodes.
Brandy went over on Allie.
Brandy Rhodes went over on Allie with the help of Awesome Kong. Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy versus Angelico and Jack Evans versus Dark Order for a tag match at All Out, which the winner gets the first round bye in the Tag Team Championship tournament. And that had the Dark Order going over. Next was Hangman Page versus Kip Sabian, and Hangman Page went over. Jericho attacking Hangman after the match.
Fucking him up.
Yeah.
You saw the cuts and everything.
Lucha Bros versus SoCal Uncensored. Lucha Bros went over on SoCal, and then afterwards, Lucha Bros said that they want to fight the Young Bucks at All Out for the tag, for just in a tag team ladder match. Excuse me. Kenny Omega versus Shima. Omega went over Shima, and I'm 100% gonna agree that it was the match of the night.
Oh, absolutely,
Yes.
hands down, best match of the weekend, maybe.
Jericho's open mic, of course. Great fucking promo, as always.
His first unscripted promo in almost 20 years.
Cody and Dustin Rhodes versus the Young Bucks. And, of course, the Young Bucks went over on Cody and Dustin, with Cody taking the pinfall. Nick, we're kicking it off with you. What are your impressions for Fight for the Fallen? What do you I said Omega and Shima was a match of the night. You guys agree, so we all think the match of the night is. But give me your impressions for Fight for the Fallen.
I definitely thought it was better than Fyter Fest. I think I liked it a little more than you did. But again, I'm in that boat where I'm very hopeful and have like a glass half full type perspective towards AEW right now, only because I'm really interested in the competition, the alternative from WWE. This is more up my alley. I actually enjoyed the Sunny Kiss match. That was pretty entertaining, the very first match that started the night. I was not impressed with the women's matches at all. I was actually a little bored. I expected to see more out of Brandy Rhodes. That was the first match I'd ever seen of hers.
That's one of her only matches.
Yeah,
too.
she's only been
She's
wrestling.
not.
They made
Okay.
quite a few mentions that she's only been wrestling for 3 years, and in that 3 years, she had to take 9 months off for a broken.
Okay.
for a-
Yeah, and she's more of a valet type. Then.
And
she's been more-
her last match was in January of last year. December of last year.
Okay.
not sticking up for her, but just giving
agreed.
you the
okay.
background that she is
So
still a
you're
little
not
green.
We're saying is you haven't missed. It's not like she's had these myriad of matches.
Yeah.
You just haven't seen.
The SoCal Uncensored match with Lucha Brothers, I thought that was a good match. That was pretty entertaining. Again, Kenny Omega and Sheena, definitely the match of the night. Probably one of the matches of the weekend. Yeah. So I mean, I did enjoy it. You know, it was definitely worth a watch. I'm hoping that All Out exceeds it by far, because if not, then I'm going to start to kind of be like, well.
So, do you feel that Fight for the Fallen was close in the ballpark of Double or Nothing? Because we were all, after Fyter Fest, we were all talking about how we felt Double or Nothing was just so much better than Fyter Fest. Obviously, you're saying Fight for the Fallen was better than Fyter Fest, but is it? Let's say Double or Nothing is the major league team, right? Is Fyter Fest just a shittier major league team, or is it a AAA team?
I would say AAA team.
AAA
yeah,
team? Okay.
AAA, AA for sure. Because there was a lot of expectations with Double or Nothing, and they exceeded those. And I did expect some more out of this one. I didn't expect a whole lot out of Fyter Fest. I really didn't. It seemed like that was kind of like a
throw off.
Yeah, like it didn't feel like a real. I know it was an AEW pay-per-view, but it didn't feel like it.
Yeah, but Fyter Fest was also booked way before they actually had a TV deal.
Yeah.
So as far as like progressing storylines and shit like that, like
What they did kind of do that in the 8 on Fyter Fest to a certain degree.
Well, I know, but most people were bitching about it, and part of the reason, I mean, you already had these matches set up, so some of the storylines you couldn't progress unless you had like interference or anything. But now, if you have people interfering in every match, you take away from the significance of having somebody interfere.
I did like the fact that I know that for Fyter Fest, one of our topics was the fact that Excalibur never shut the fuck up, and he
that wrong.
He was over talking JR.
Fight for the Fulgin.
He was over talking JR for like the first 2 or 3 matches, and then all of a sudden it's like someone told him in his ear, "Dude, shut up," and he kind of sat back a little bit, let. JR and I can never remember the other.
The other guy's the worst part of that whole commentary team.
Alex Marvez.
It seemed like they all kind of meshed together a little better, and he let them, get their piece in. And
How about Excalibur?
Yeah,
When it comes to Excalibur, like he actually had one of my favorite lines of the commentary throughout the weekend. The line with there's this whole line that always just said like the ring apron is the hardest part of the ring. Excalibur like completely debunked that.
Yeah, he was like, no, that's the ring post.
He said no. He said as somebody who's been in this ring for multiple years, the ring like the apron is not the hardest part of the ring. It's the post.
Well, and I think everybody knows that, but when you're trying to sell the illusion. But I watched Fight for the Fallen on mute, the whole thing. I was watching in my living room while the little lady was watching her show, so mine was on mute. So I didn't get to hear any of the commentary, so I don't know if it was shitty or, who was.
Which is honestly one of our biggest critiques.
Yeah, normally, but honestly, sometimes, and I do it at home, like I'll watch wrestling on mute, and
It's always
not having the commentaries there sometimes is better than having it.
Agreed.
I believe it.
So how did you feel about Fight for the Fallen then, sir?
Well, I didn't watch Fyter Fest, and I didn't go back and watch Fyter Fest, so I watched this one. So there's my comparison to which one I like better. It was a good show.
So how did you feel this stacked up to Double or Nothing? Would you agree with Nick? It's a AAA team.
I'd go Double A. I don't think it's in the same league, same ballpark as.
You don't think anyone so you would be like, this would not leave and go straight to the majors.
Correct.
Okay.
This needs some work.
Right.
But this is good. This has potential, but it still needs some work. They did a really good job with the first All In, the second All In Double or Nothing. I really feel like these next two were kind of rushed because the other ones they had months, even a year to build up to, so they could.
Yeah, this is the one that they announced. This was their Jacksonville show that was announced right after Double or Nothing. And Fyter Fest was just kind of an
you have
thing.
One in June, one in July, and now your next one's not till September.
And
or
last
end
day
of
August,
August. So
which we hope to be there with Sarcasm.
I hope we hear something. But these were back to back. I just not necessarily rushed, but they had to throw together 2 pay-per-views. One's going not saying that money makes a difference, but one is like for charity, and they gave both away for free on the internet. So I didn't expect these to be great. If they were awesome, great, but I didn't expect it because, again, you look at it, it's a free show. You don't have to pay for it. It doesn't have to be good. It just has to showcase a few things, highlight a few things, and then from there, the rest can be crap. I mean, that's the gist of it. And that's kind of what it was. Kenny, again, put Kenny over as the star that Kenny is. And
I think SEMA got over too.
SEMA's
got over in both the last
That
two.
match was fantastic. And I actually picked SEMA to win, thinking that not Jericho, Moxley would interfere, and that would be why Kenny lost. That was my philosophy on that. But that match was great. Like, I told you guys, I watched the whole pay-per-view on mute. That was a lie. This was the only match I walked outside on my deck and watched bell to bell, and it was
How in
fan-fucking-tastic.
the fuck are we supposed to trust you if you're just gonna lie to us?
Well, I'm sorry. I forgot that after like the first 2 minutes of the match, I'm like, I got to go watch this like on full volume and everything. And yeah, it was one of the best wrestling matches I've seen in, I don't want to say a long time because WWE's been pumping a couple out, but it was really good. I'm slowly becoming a Kenny fan. Like I slowly became an AJ fan. You just can't knock the talent.
Right.
Like, it's there. So I'm overall good pay-per-view. Don't think it was great, but I didn't expect it to be great. So
Smitty, your thoughts on this?
So I came in with lower expectation than I have for Fyter Fest, but once again, I didn't realize the whole background behind Fyter Fest when I watched it. So then, my expectation kind of got lowered. I thought it was a good one, and like it did what it marked the boxes where it needed to mark. So you got to showcase some of your guys that were not the elite. Sonny Kiss had a great showing. Peter Avalon had a great showing in this match. Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy were probably the most over guys on that whole fucking card.
I love that team too.
Yeah.
I really do.
And the funny thing is they were never they just started meshing together now with AEW coming together.
Well, they started doing those vignettes where they're walking around like the grocery store with Jungle Boy on his back, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, so but once again, with the whole AEW thing started, this is now becoming a thing. Jungle Boy was Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus was Luchasaurus. And this is starting to mesh together, and it's getting over, and it's probably one of the most over things at AEW right now.
It's like Mobley and his pet dinosaur.
The Good Dinosaur, the movie. Let's be honest. So then like was it Omega and SEMA was really good. Like SEMA looks like a goddamn superstar between both Fyter Fest and Fight for the Fallen. So yeah, I know I was getting really emotional when I picked the Rhodes versus Bucks match, but that was one of my personal favorite matches that I was emotionally invested in that match.
Why?
I would say I'm a big Dustin Rhodes fan. I've been a Dustin Rhodes fan since I was a kid when he was the Natural still.
Did you think he was cute when he became Goldust? Is that why?
That kind of confused me. I was still very young.
Nailed it. Figured it out.
What?
Smitty's been confused ever since.
I really like him.
Wait, this is acceptable? So I can bring mine out of the closet?
No, the whole thing that was like this. I didn't know what androgynous meant.
Picturing Smitty in a blonde wig right now.
No. But I was also I'm from the hood, like so when I saw a grown
couldn't
man
wear the blonde wig.
So I'm from the hood, like so when
I buried that shit in my closet.
When you see a grown man that you admire as a wrestler, all of a sudden in gold paint and a blonde wig, you're like, oh, that nigga gay.
But he's white.
From the hood.
Honky gay, dog.
Thank you to everyone who's saying happy birthday to me on
Happy birthday, Mikey.
Happy birthday. Comments.
Yeah, but so that was kind of weird. That was a weird time, but then as I got older, I started appreciating in-ring work.
Hold on. Can we I'm sorry to cut you off.
It's just a weird time for him.
But I do want to talk about your birthday sign real quick. I didn't realize
before we'll go into a second, let's let Smitty finish his thought.
So, like, emotionally, I was invested in that one. That was why it was one of my favorite matches. It wasn't the best match of the night, my favorite. So, because I have a deep rooted fandom for Dustin, and I think Cody was one of the most underrated guys in WWE. At least deserved a little bit more than what he got while he was there. The Bucks, I think, are one of the best tag teams in the world.
Agreed.
And I'm looking forward to All Out with them and the Lucha Bros.
I think... before I continue, who's that?
And another little thing was like only thing that like some of the production stuff pissed me off, and then there was the whole the whole dual promo between the Lucha Brothers after that match, to where literally
That bothered
Pentagon. So don't get me wrong, I love Lucha Bros. Like to have 2 promos that take up like 5, almost 8 minutes.
It wasn't 2 promos.
It was 1 promo, but one was completely in Spanish. It was one, like, Pentagon did everything in Spanish before Phoenix translated it.
Yeah, so it was just 1 promo with a translator.
Which is kind of at some point I feel like you could have did something else with that time. Like you're in front of an American audience for the most part.
I'm not gonna argue. It's your opinion there. I vehemently disagree with you.
Now, I think you could have did. There was another way you could have done that promo instead of like
just have Phoenix talk and not have Pentagon talk. I mean,
probably.
Well, there's a huge Hispanic population in the state of Florida, Smitty.
Yeah, so there's that.
Where they were, what the brand that they represent, to the brand that they're also a part of, that actually was one of them. It makes some more of the sense than any one of them just cutting a Spanish promo, because then you'd be like, oh, well, I didn't understand shit, and then the other one cutting an English promo, and you're like, and then the Spanish audience,
like, would
be like,
so kind of like when Andrade talks on TV and then nobody tells you what he says.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, got it.
I think the wrestling in AEW is great. I can't knock it. I think that the matches, the singles match, Omega and Shima, I think from Double or Nothing, these are matches that I can sit back and go, that was really good. SCU and Lucha Bros, the triple threat tag team, the 6-man tag match that was going on, especially with the psychology that played out in that match.
With the whole Spears Ben Allen.
I am not in any way, shape, or form happy with AEW's structure. And that being said is the way they put on the show. So you have the triple threat tag match, right? You have the Dark Order. You have Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. You have Best Friends.
No, it was Angelico and Jack Evans.
Yeah, whatever. So you have these 3 teams. Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy come out with Marco Stunt. I'm fine with that. Marco Stunt gets involved in the match. The referee says, "You're gone." Luchasaurus looked at the ref and said, "No, he's not," and then used him as a prop to throw on the other people. As after Marco Stunt got involved with the Hurricane Rana from the top, which is a great spot. And it's a triple threat tag match, so it's not like I'm mad that there's no disqualification there, because there's not. It's a triple threat tag match. There's no DQ in these. Hence why there was no rope break, anything like that. It made sense. The minute the ref says go and the wrestler says no, I now have a problem. Because now there is some sort of which we've wanted, which I've complained about these last 3 pay-per-views, last 2. Even Double or Nothing we were like, well, they kind of let the Bucks and the fucking Lucha Bros go like crazy. That shouldn't have been a lot of countouts that were just avoided. But now a referee is invoking power, and the wrestler said no. Marco Stunt never fucking left. He didn't come back later.
Your ref loses all credibility.
Yeah, now all of a sudden that referee makes no fucking sense.
Not even ECW did that.
Right? Doesn't matter.
No, I'm saying like not even ECW did that.
So you're looking at this going, what is this ref for? Then there is another match, the SCU versus Lucha Bros match. Christopher Daniels moves the fucking ref so that he can hit a move.
Yeah.
And the ref doesn't even DQ him, that team. Like, I understand that they're giving referees
leniency.
Leniency, yes, is the word that they're using. But it makes no fucking sense. I can't watch this match and go, okay, this is going to... No match is... The first time a match ends in a DQ in AEW, you're going to be like, fuck you.
Yeah. For real, though.
Yeah, you're going to be pissed off about it because no ref has any credibility. When they say leave, they can stay. When the fucking outside interference happens on a team that's in there, regardless if they won or not, and it'd be even worse if SCU won, Christopher Daniels hitting what do they call it? There's something moonsault.
BME? Best moonsault ever?
No, there's something else.
Or the outside moonsault?
Maybe, I don't know. I'm done talking about it.
The inside
I'm moving
moonsault?
forward. Yeah,
Sideways
it was that fucking moonsault.
Outside moonsault.
He
with
hit
the
it
bounce off the rope.
and moving the ref out of the way. No, I'm sorry, that credibility is gone. I'm watching this match and I'm hearing the best thing they had for credibility was the actual count out between Allen and Cody at last pay-per-view, right? There is nothing I can get into in this match because now I don't care. There's no rules, there's no regulation. Even ECW, like you said, Smitty, which was built as no rules and regulations, respected the referee. This is something that, look, I will never take away from the in-ring product. Omega and Shima, spectacular. I thought Bucks and Cody and Dustin, great match. The psychology, dude, it seemed. So, did anyone else look at Shawn Spears and just look back and go, man, he just seems confused. Like, he doesn't have any fucking idea of what's going on. Sammy Guevara at one point had Darby Allin down in the corner and then started attacking everyone else on the outside and then went back to Darby Allin, who was not being touched, who then... I'm confused. I can't follow a product where there's no structure.
I will say that match was actually the one match I thought was a complete shit show on that whole card. Because it seemed like everybody was just everywhere. And I think the only good thing that came out of it was some of the story building that's going to probably lead to the Shawn Spears Cody match at All Out. Outside of that match was kind of everywhere.
The thing when I get taken out of a match because of what they did in those matches, I can no longer say this is a really good match because I'm not invested in it anymore. I was telling Smitty earlier today. I got to Kenny and Shima during Kenny's entrance, and I turned it off. I knew everyone said it was the best match on that card, and watching the entrances, because of how annoyed I was with everything previously, I turned it off. I turned off a pay-per-view knowing what the best match was. Eventually I watched it, and I agree, best match on the card. However, nothing should make you turn off a pay-per-view when you know the best match is coming. Like, I'm pretty sure that I would have even just switched over to Evolve if I was watching AEW's Fight for the Fallen Live and not watching Evolve.
They got to learn how to use that word leniency more, because if that's
or how to pull back on it.
Right. Well, if that's their idea of leniency, well, then fuck that, because no one's, like you said, going to take that shit seriously. I mean, if leniency is, okay, well, you start your 10 count when the dudes are outside a little late, or, you know what I mean?
That's how I took it, but sometimes they don't start it at all.
Right. So when you're looking at it and you're making these comments, like you said, you want to turn it off, I hope
I did. I turned it off.
They better make some adjustments real quick.
Instead of giving third, fourth show,
instead of giving them leniency, why don't you just make it a 20 count and have the ref count slow?
Like Lucha Underground did that thing too.
And then, I mean, as far as the DQs go, you're absolutely right. You've lost all credibility in your ref. And your ref, whether you like it or not, is like your ring chief. He's the one who runs the whole show. He's the one with the earpiece in going, all right. You know what I mean? Like, he's the on-the-fly guy. Like, okay, we're going to do this, or this is going to happen next, whatever. But if you don't pay them any respect,
right?
Like, I think it was like the first time Bret Hart pushed Earl Hebner, and Earl Hebner got in his face. Like, that gave refs credibility. But if you push the guy and he goes, okay, you can do what you want, you're going to continue to do it and use it. You know what I mean? Like,
and let's take it to the Brandy and Alley match. When Awesome Kong interfered in that match, the ref wasn't looking at it.
Correct.
So it was like, yes, it's just like any other wrestling show that you watch. If the ref doesn't see it, they can't do anything about it.
That's fine.
Christopher Daniels saying, excuse me, move over so I can jump up, hit this fucking top rope and move over.
But I do have a question, because now I didn't see all of that match. I didn't see that part in particular. Was it like a fuck you, get out of my way?
No. It was
like
a polite. It was like a
move, you're in my
polite.
way.
It was like you're in my way. I need the space.
But I mean, okay, now I'm playing hockey, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the ref gets in my way, and I move the ref out of my way to get to the puck because we're going the same kind of concept, or
somewhat,
or just deliberately like pushed him and then hit his.
It was actually the girl ref. It was Aubrey.
Yeah, it was Aubrey. So
yeah, he moved her out of the way.
He kind of politely moved her out of the way, like I need the space.
Excuse me, I have to hit this move.
I mean, I would have to see it in the context, but to me, from what you're explaining, that doesn't seem that bad to me.
No, I'm not talking about him moving her. I'm saying that he was not involved in the match.
Oh,
yeah.
It wasn't 3-on-3. It was 2-on-2.
Okay. It's not that he moved the ref. It's that the ref was watching him hit this move.
Yeah, I forgot Daniels wasn't involved in that
then it was
match.
like another 3 minutes before she actually ejected him.
She was startled.
And that's not even something that's an injection worthy. That's your team's disqualified now. Your team has an
100%.
outside help.
I mean, at the very least.
Going back to that leniency, if you don't want to stop the match with a DQ, you can still eject.
Right.
Him.
Yeah.
And
at the very least,
it still took like another 3 to 5 minutes where he interfered the second time when she ejected him.
Well, especially in a world where they are making it clear that wins and losses fucking matter.
Right.
But at what point?
Right.
At what point do they matter? Like when they go weekly episodic TV show or what?
Well, they tried to make that a big thing during the Omega Shima match, and when you listen to commentary, because the big thing they said, Kenny Omega's looking for his first wins in singles.
Well, because the way I see it, Cody's 1-1-1 right now.
Yeah, he's 1-1-1. Omega's 1-2.
He's 1-1.
1-2.
I mean, 1-0-1 in singles. 0-1 in tag.
Right.
Yeah,
But they're not
fully
telling you
agree.
this. Is you just keeping track on your own.
And I fully agree that tag match versus singles is completely different.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, because different rankings,
it's
whatever. Yeah.
different areas, so on and so forth. And it's teams. It's technically teams. Technically, Cody and Dustin are 0-1. Cody and anyone else if he tags with, because like he's tagging with MJF.
And that's fine because that's a great way to build a tag division if you're going by wins and losses.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Cody hasn't won a match, but as a tag team, he's undefeated. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Just like you said, Omega's 1-1, won over Shima, lost to Jericho. Jericho's 1-0. Hangman Page currently is 3-0, which just builds up to why he's not winning the AEW title even more.
Well, I don't give a shit.
I kind of have a theory
Jericho's
about
promo
that title. So the theory I had was like that title when it comes to the AEW World Championship. Like I think Jericho validates that title, but that title validates Page if he wins. That is literally the way I look at it.
Page is going to be your Stone Cold Steve Austin. Not building him in the same sense, but he's going to chase that championship and chase that championship and chase that championship.
Get it every now and then, lose it a couple months later, chase again, chase
And
again.
that's fine. And maybe like you'll pull a Cena and grab it and hold it for a year. Whatever. I mean, but he's probably going to be one of those guys, which I love his in-ring work. I love his gimmick. I know you don't, Spitty.
I don't
think it's his name.
I just don't like the name. Everything else about Page I like.
But he's clearly a future superstar in some sense of the word.
100%.
So it's the chase is always better after they capture. How many wrestlers have we said that about?
Right. You know what? I honestly, and if you're taking it back to like you said, the Stone Cold, I think if Hangman is Stone Cold, MJF is your Triple H.
Yeah, Triple H.
It's your quintessential heel.
Okay.
Because The Rock is another face guy. You know what I'm saying? And
He was a good heel too, though.
They had their IC run against each other was face heel, but the minute they hit the world title stage in WWF, it was face.
What are you talking about? Stone Cold throwing the IC belt off the Detroit Bridge? That was great.
No, that's what I'm talking about. When The Rock, they were in, it was face heel, but the minute they hit the main event level, it was mostly face until Austin did his little heel turn with the invasion.
Little Rock to the corporate thing. Yeah,
Right, but I mean, that was Rock doing the corporate thing. That's what I'm saying. Like when you at WrestleMania 17,
the one where Rock finally went over?
Yeah, no.
19 was one over.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, so MJF is your quintessential heel in Triple H style, if you're comparing it to the old Attitude Era. But yes, back to Fight for the Fallen. Even knowing how good matches were, I was tuned out. And you can't lose an audience
that you don't have yet.
Right, with your... And it doesn't also... my other problem with it is how many of these matches were announced days before it fucking happened.
Yeah.
Dude, that was one thing I kept putting in our chat.
But that comes back to me being like, well, they got 2 back-to-back. I mean, you got to remember,
That's
less than 6 months ago, these guys didn't even have a fucking roster.
Right.
Now you're putting on 3 pay-per-views back-to-back-to-back. The one you built for a year. You may have done it under the AEW banner, but it was the same group of guys that put on the original All In, and they've been planning it since the original All In. Whereas these other two are like, all right, we got this show and this show, we're going to make it work, is what it seems like to me. I don't know how long they've been working
and that's
on
fine. So then let's bring that into what's coming up in the future with them. After All Out, they have to put on a weekly television show.
Correct.
And it's live. They are not going with a taped show. They're going live on most likely Tuesdays, right? So,
But that's where your Sean Spears and your Jerichos and your Moxleys come.
understandable,
help
but
you.
you had 2 weeks, so that's a week-to-week thing, and this is 2 weeks in between that you're trying to put stuff on to then follow into your next pay-per-view All Out, and then go into your television series, which mostly is your tag tournament right now.
But again, they've also had. They knew they were getting a deal. The deal was signed last month.
2 months ago.
2 months ago. And going forward, like they know they have a TV deal. So somebody's already putting that together. Comes out in September. There's time. I'm not worried about the TV thing. It's only 2 hours.
I am.
What?
And I'm worried because if they had
You're worried
2
they're going to
weeks-
lose
No,
viewership
if
before they even have it?
No. I'm worried that they had 2 weeks in between these pay-per-views to put on. And we're saying that it looks sloppy. Well,
But the second one looked better than the first one, so there is progress there.
But the second one had less time to come together, other than between Double or Nothing to Fyter Fest. Granted, again, it was at a gaming convention. I'm not trying to knock too much of it, but it wasn't up to the quality that Double or Nothing was. Nowhere near. And if we're saying that this is the Double A team here, Fight for the Fallen, that makes Fyter Fest Single A. Now, while there's improvement, it's not like Double A baseball squads are selling out stadiums.
True.
You know, and and then it comes to the point of alienating an audience. I love the alternative. I am not, obviously on this show, I am the biggest one to have shit on AEW, but it's more constructive criticism. It's, dude, fix this. I want to love your product. I don't love the WWE product right now. I shit on that too.
I'm the biggest shitter on WWE.
But at the same time, the majority of the audience that watched 3 pay-per-views this weekend thought the WWE one was the best.
Extreme Rules wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good. And that's what I'm saying is you're saying we're the alternative. We're going to be better than them. And then you put out a show where everyone's like, yeah, but the WWE
on a day you're not even competing with them.
Right.
Though. Like it's not like they both went out Sunday and people picked WWE. Like you were on a day before, you should have had that audience.
Exactly. Dude, NXT goes on a day before most of the WWE Big Four. And we're always like, God damn, NXT blew WWE's out of the water.
Every time.
Yep.
And they have 5 matches. They don't have 8 matches. They don't announce 17 before the show. Like,
but
I think right now,
that goes into your point. You feel like Fight for the Fallen was kind of rushed. Like I said, there were 3-4 matches that were announced a day or 2 before Fight for the Fallen.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean they weren't planning these matches. I said it seemed rushed. Who knows? They could have been planning these matches the whole time and just announced them the day before.
Okay, so let's make a quick comparison then, because
2 matches were announced.
We're saying that there was rushed, and there was 2 matches announced the day before Fight for the Fallen. 2 weeks, 2 days, day or 2, 3 matches. The
Bea Presley, like I said, they announced that Bea Presley and Britt Baker would be in action. They announced the triple threat for the bye, and there was another one they announced.
I don't remember. I think every other one was a part of this.
Nope, the triple threat for the bye was like 2 or 3 days before.
No, that's what I'm saying. Those 2.
Triple threat.
That's what he's saying. That's the second one. I'm saying there was only 2 announced.
Oh yeah, I was keeping 3 because they just said Bea Presley and they said
the only other thing that was announced before this was Chris Jericho having an open mic. That wasn't a match. Okay, so that's 2 matches announced
and
within
2
or 3 days before, right?
Yeah.
Extreme Rules happens the day before Extreme Rules.
The day
of.
The day of, they announced 2 matches.
You announced Kevin Owens and Dolph Ziggler, and you announced the Intercontinental Championship match on the pre-show.
Yeah.
These are, obviously we're still like, this is a fucking lot. WWE pulled that off. And granted, WWE had,
years
'cause
of
Daniel
experience
from
now.
Pro Wrestling Scorecards and I were talking about this, and they already had shit set up for this. IC and the IC belt match was kind of there from SmackDown beforehand. Obviously, Kevin Owens and Dolph Ziggler being taken off in the main event from the SmackDown beforehand also laid the groundwork for that. So you got two different pay-per-views that have two matches announced each within 3 days of its happening.
I know where you're going with this.
WWE pulled it off very well. AEW, I'm not saying that they weren't pulled off, but it was more of a, you can't do that when you don't have things leading up to it. It's just a
Correct.
Here you go. We're going to do this, and then it becomes now we're scrambling. And why are you scrambling? Because the WWE put on a show during your show, and your executive vice president took a shot at WWE for that. Well, if you're in for taking blood money, you're going to take Kenny Omega. If you're in for taking blood money, you're obviously going to take away from So then they're like, well, we got to put on a better show. They didn't. I'm sorry. I even think Evolve was better than Fight for the Fallen.
You don't have to put on a better show.
You just have to put on a good show.
Correct. And it has to be consistent, and it has to be good. It doesn't have to be great, because if you put on enough good shows, you don't need any great shows, because WWE shit half the time, and we shit all over it. So all you got to do is have a consistent run.
Not in 2019.
What's that?
Not in 2019.
Yeah, Mike, you didn't bring up a point. They have not
Name
put on
a bad pay-per-view from WWE in 2019.
Everything they've done has been okay or good this year.
It's all been good.
Since WrestleMania, at least.
No, all of them. Royal Rumble was good. Fastlane was good. Extreme Rules. I'm not talking great. I'm not saying, oh my God, these pay-per-views blew my mind. But not once did we ever come on the air this year and go, Jesus fucking Christ, that pay-per-view sucked. We've said that about quite a few Raws and SmackDowns.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
Their big shows, they have come out, and each one of them have been a 7 or better. They've been good. And consistently good. The show and the storyline might not make any fucking sense from Raw to SmackDown to the pay-per-view, but it does not change the fact that when you got to the show, WrestleMania included, this is one of the best WrestleManias ever.
Oh no, we all said it. You were mostly invested.
I'm
the
not
matches
saying top
were good.
3, maybe top 5, definitely top 10, and there's been 35 of them.
Well, with this,
we're going to revisit this on a different show.
This pay-per-view with Fight for the Fallen, I think, and again, I said earlier, I think I'm trying to have a glass half full type outlook on it. This is their, as AEW, third show.
Technically fourth.
Nope, third show.
Whether it's a pay-per-view or a weekly show. So if this was 3 Wednesdays in a row, it'd be a different outlook. Like, okay, they had Double or Nothing, and then Fyter Fest and Fight for the Fallen 3 Wednesdays in a row or 3 Tuesdays in a row. But this is 3 pay-per-views in 3 months. Their first 3 shows, period. Not little house shows, not a couple of TV shows. So I'm hoping that it's more like of an experimental phase. They're looking at what they did. They're going to see the mistakes they made. And hopefully, by the time All Out comes or by the time TV comes, they'll work out these kinks. They'll hear feedback, hopefully like a message like what you guys are saying and what we're all saying about these referees and the little things. We're not the only ones that feel like that. And they're going to hear this message and say, okay, you know what? Yes, we need to look at this. And by the time October comes up, we're going to have this fixed. You know what I mean? That's my hope.
I agree with Nick on that.
The problem is, as of right now, they just put on 2 shows for free. I mean, not free to attend, but free on pay-per-view to get more eyes on their product. And they probably lost more than they gained because of these 2 shows.
And that's my problem with it, is when the 2 shows that you're supposed to be giving... Look,
you should be giving me everything you have for free right now just to get my eye on the product.
And again, I want to make this very clear. We are not shitting on the wrestling part of AEW because the matches were good. The problem is we couldn't follow. I couldn't follow things. And I tuned out. And then this is mostly me because you guys...
I'm like you. I get frustrated.
I follow Nightmare
what
Family
you're
and
saying
being the
makes
elite.
sense. It totally makes sense.
I want to watch outside of... I'm sorry. even Double or Nothing had moments that took me out of it, and that was referee stuff. If you're taking people out of matches and they can't follow something, how are you planning to get them on a week? We argue consistency left and right with the WWE. I want it with AEW as well.
I said that there was the second match that we watched on Double or Nothing. It was whatever the first tag match was. I can't remember, but
Was that the best friends one?
yeah, the referee that the Young Bucks always have with him,
Rick Knox,
and he just kind of stood around waving his arms for 3/4 of the match. And I said something on the show. I was like, that was fucking stupid.
And in Double or Nothing, they spent the majority of the times building their refs up.
Yeah.
They put the refs over before every match, introduce them, who they are, what they did, how long they've been in the business.
Earl Hebner wasn't on these last two, was he?
No,
I know Earl Hebner's
I don't know.
with them, but
I'm
he
just
wasn't
saying,
been on the last two
at
shows.
Double or Nothing, they literally put the refs over before every match, which I was like, all right, cool, building credibility to the ref, and then destroyed all credibility between all three shows. To the point where you might as well run your promotion as a no DQ promotion.
Yeah.
Because like you were saying, at this point, wait. Unless you're having like a ref heel turn, you can't DQ it.
Like Earl Hebner. And,
No, or like a Nick Patrick thing.
I was like, no,
Like,
Earl Hebner
disqualification. Oh, fuck you. There's never disqualification. Well, I said there was. Like, ref heel turn at that point.
well, no, like Earl Hebner had one too. He had a whole T-shirt that said "Damn right I did" because they brought out the screw job.
it's again, we're not going to continue to harp on it because we've got to move on. But I don't hate. I guess it comes to the point of the reason I feel Fight for the Fallen was not as good as Evolve is because watching Evolve, there was a consistent run throughout the whole thing. I think the wrestling on Evolve was better than Fight for the Fallen? No.
There were like 2 or 3
Fight for the
matches,
Fallen, I think, edged out wrestling. Not by much. I'm not trying to say that, oh my God, it was so much better. I think the wrestling on Fight for the Fallen edged out Evolve. Hell, the wrestling on Fight for the Fallen edged out Extreme Rules.
But I think that's what AEW's trying to focus on right now.
And that's
is the
fine,
wrestling.
but you also have to build an emotional connection with your audience to keep them invested.
But you're right,
And
like,
they did not do that.
except
so
outside of
therefore,
one
to
match.
to me, Fight for the Fallen was the worst of the 3 shows. Again, I would love to throw the G1 climax into this G129, but I only watched a few matches, which were great. I cannot. If I'm going to talk about who had the better wrestling, New Japan had it.
Oh, day 2. So I'll watch all the matches from day 2, and that's it.
So again, I'm not basing anything just on the in-ring product, because if that was the case, WWE is wonderful. WWE is amazing. WWE is not bad at all, because even Raw and SmackDown have great matches in the ring. The problem is if you're trying to follow a storyline, you're taken out of it, and that's what we hated. That's what we've shit talked. So that's what I'm going to go with AEW as well, and that's why I feel it was the worst of the weekend. Now, moving into what majority of people who watch the 3 feel is the best of the weekend. WWE's Extreme Rules. We, of course, held our event again at the Buffalo Wild Wings. August 11th is our next event. SummerSlam is going to be happening at Buffalo Wild Wings. Unlike the watch parties of the smaller pay-per-views, this one will be on the second floor, just like our WrestleMania party, except we're taking over both fucking bars, ladies and gentlemen. The one on the right when you first walk up, and the one on the left, the patio bar. Why? Because it's the biggest party of the summer, and no party of the summer is a party without a fucking patio. So we have the patio bar. We will have the other bar. So we're going to take up the entire second floor of Buffalo Wild Wings. August 11th. As it stands, we have it starting at 6:30. It's very possible WWE is going to start the pay-per-view at 6.
Be there at 4, guys.
Right. So our time will change as WWE updates more and more. But be prepared to be there for a little bit, having fun. We're going to have prizes, giveaways, all that fun stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Just like WrestleMania. And we're going to have a great fun, laughs, and all the stuff with all of our people.
My mom actually shared it when on Facebook.
I don't know who shared it at 1 o'clock in the morning last night.
Oh, it wasn't me.
Either me or my mom.
Probably you. No, it was on the Breaking Down the Ring.
Oh, that may have been me. I think I tried to share it on my own.
If it wasn't these two, it was definitely you. I looked at it, I was like, it's kind of late for this shit. So let's go on to Extreme Rules. Let's talk about the results. It kicked off on the pre-show with Shinsuke Nakamura becoming the brand new Intercontinental Champion over Finn Balor. Cruiserweight Champion Drew Gulak, his second match in 2 days, which let's play.
That's why I was
it's
under
not
8 minutes.
Drew Gulak took on Tony Nese, and he won. He continued to be the WWE Cruiserweight Champion. Then Extreme Rules kicked off with a tag match. The Graveyard Dogs, Undertaker, Roman Reigns defeating Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre in that no-holds-barred match. Next
You're going to
match.
call him Drew McEnroe,
Big surprise.
weren't you?
Huh?
You're going to call him Drew McEnroe, weren't you?
I was looking at holds. I almost said Drew McInolds. No, that's not his name. Raw Tag Team Championship match was next, and the Revival retained their titles over the Usos. Next, Aleister Black's questions of who was going to face him was answered by Cesaro, and Cesaro took the loss after taking a devastating black mass to
Out of
the face.
nowhere.
Up next was the SmackDown Women's Championship match. Bayley defeated Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross in that handicap match to retain her SmackDown Women's title. Up next, Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley in a last man standing went all around the ring as Braun Strowman took the victory. Then was a Daniel Bryan and Rowan defending their SmackDown Tag Team Championships against Heavy Machinery and Xavier Woods and Big E of the New Day. And the New Day became your six-time World Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. Then AJ Styles, with the help of Gallows and Anderson, the entire club took the United States Championship off of Ricochet. Kevin Owens defeated Dolph Ziggler in a squash.
17 seconds.
Kofi Kingston then retained his WWE Championship against Samoa Joe. And then finally, the night ended with the Extreme Rules mixed tag team match of Lacey Evans and Baron Corbin losing to Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch and then they retained their titles. Only for Brock Lesnar to come and cash in on Seth Rollins and leave Extreme Rules, your brand new WWE Universal Champion. Smitty, we're going to kick off with you. I understand that it's probably the New Day winning as your moment for Extreme Rules. However, if it's not one, holy shit, really? If it is, give me a different moment during that card that you were like, holy fuck, that was great.
I think the AJ Ricochet match was really good. They took a lot of what's been happening over the last 2 weeks and incorporated it into a story within that match.
Mm-hmm.
Was that, you're right though, like just watching the New Day all.
Yeah, I didn't want you to continue with that because I knew what it was. I want you to continue with the story of the New Day, the fucking club.
There's a lot of stuff going on there. Like, I'm a fan of AJ. I'm a fan of Gallows and Anderson. I've watched, my thing about specifically Gallows. Gallows was specific. Damn, I'm gotta listen now. Specifically, Gallows is Gallows has been, this is his third run in WWE technically, and he's never.
That's right.
Third.
I never say that, but he's right. He was fastest.
Yeah, I remember that.
Then he was Luke Gallows. Then he was Luke Gallows with SES.
You're right. But wait, no, that was the same run.
No, it wasn't.
No.
He left WWE in between Festus and Straight Edge Society?
He was let go, and then CM Punk
brought
bring him back for the Straight Edge Society, and then
I thought
it's on the Best in the World
Mercury.
It's on the best.
He brought back.
It was the Best in the World. He brought back Gallows and Mercury.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought it was just Mercury, but okay, continue. I thought it. All right, continue. Yeah,
that's why when CM Punk dropped the pipe bomb, he even mentions Doc Gallows in the pipe bomb.
So it's his third run in WWE, and I feel like they were still misusing him, and at that point it's like I've seen his New Japan stuff. I've seen the stuff he did on the Indies at that point since he's left WWE the second time, and it's good to see him in a position to where it seems like you can see Gallows in the role he's supposed to be. He is supposed to be the higher muscle.
So let me ask you a question, Smitty. And this isn't a bait question to get an argument. I really just want to know: do you feel that the club, AJ, Gallows, Anderson are finally in a set moment to be pushed properly and done right this time? Or is it just because obviously Heyman's kind of behind it now? Or is this just set up to be failure? Because we've talked about this when it first was going down 3 weeks ago. You know, you said you wanted to give it a couple of weeks before you bought in. Are you buying in now? Are you bought in?
I am starting to buy in because, like you said,
So you're
Heyman's
not
behind
bought
it.
in?
So no,
You either bought it or not. That's what I'm saying. Not starting, so you're not thinking about walking up to the counter and handing them your cash. Have you handed your cash yet, or are you still like, I don't know if this is a sure enough bet for me to bet on?
No, because if you're looking for a sure bet, no. Like, it's still just in an infancy phase right now.
Okay.
How is it in the infancy stage?
So yeah, Z, I'm asking you. Do you think it is now something to buy into? Are you in or are you out?
I'm in. I'm always in when they get the club together.
Okay.
As far as what they do with it, completely different story.
But you think
And
this
that's
is
where
where
I'm- that's-
into you how
But
you feel that
this isn't in its infancy because they've already had a run. They're already an established trio. They really didn't.
But not with this type of direction behind them.
I understand. That was my next point. Like, you have Heyman, who kind of understands the Japan style and the longer working, just a better understanding of wrestling than the direction before. But
WWE.
right, but if they continue with the club and it's pushed the right direction, I mean, the sky's the limit. They'd be the next New Day. Give Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson the tag team titles, and then we got 2 stables with all the fucking gold. That's the Attitude Era again. But I will say this, more so than Gallows, I love the way that they're pushing Carl Anderson right now, because it used to be like, oh, Carl Anderson, like, he's good
the
in the
third
ring,
wheel.
blah, blah, blah. Now it's like, oh, look at Carl Anderson with the... Have you noticed Graves put him over on how strong he is the past couple weeks? That's
sure.
awesome. I love it, because Carl Anderson, I actually like looked into him and watching like some
He's
of
a
his,
Michigan guy too, by the way.
some of his singles matches, man, are out of this fucking world. So
Machine
Nick,
Gun is awesome.
Nick, let me ask you a question.
wish Joe
Are
was here
you
with
in
this one.
or are you out of this?
I'm in, and I'm in because I'm looking at it from the more casual fan perspective, because I hear all this previous talk about the club and New Japan and, you know, all that. Now I get to see it. You know what I mean? So I know that there's a lot behind it. So now I'm seeing it, and it's, yeah, I'm definitely in. I'm excited to see where it goes, and I really hope that it does take off. I really do.
First off, I understand exactly where you two are about to go with this, and yes, it's not New Japan, but Nick's point of view is
I
my
get it a
point
little
of
bit
view
more
right now, okay? And I'm not a casual fan. I've obviously known how the club was formed. I remember the split of Finn Balor's or Prince Devitt's tag team to when Badlock Fale came out and he was sitting on his shoulders afterwards. I understand that. This is probably going to be, and I'm in 100% in now, that this is probably going to be the best run of this trio if it doesn't grow more from this.
who do you think they add if they're doing like a NWO-esque like push where you start out with a trio of guys and kind of just add as you go along? Who do you think will be the first member they add?
I feel if they add anyone,
It won't be Finn.
No,
It
actually,
should be.
I know,
It should
I
be,
know,
but
say-
it won't be.
it needs to be.
I don't think that
Actually,
would
no.
surprise me. He's
Actually-
about to take some time off. and
Actually,
for
Finn
him to
puts
come
him
back.
off. But
Well, and it also makes sense to make him go on the losing streak that he's been on, especially because I think he's going to lose to Wyatt at SummerSlam. But put him on a losing streak, and then the 4 of them get together, and now they can't lose. Just like
I am saying it should be Finn, not because of anything. I understand the losing streak, and that plays into my thought process. Finn's on a losing
he's
streak.
the original.
Finn's on a losing streak because he's not concentrating on himself. He's technically the puppet master behind AJ, Gallows, and Anderson. He is telling them what to do, because then you bring Finn in, and Finn is the leader of the club. It's always been Balor Club. It's always been BC, original BC. So the reason that
OGBC.
the reason that he is flailing on SmackDown Live is because of what he's helping them to do. so he's not paying much attention to himself. And that's just talk about bringing him into it. If they do bring him into it, that's a smart way to do it. I'm not losing because because I suck. I'm losing because I'm not paying attention to you because I'm trying to get these guys over. So when I walk in, I'm the fucking dude running it.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
What do you think about this? You have Balor versus Bray at SummerSlam. Obviously, that's what this is coming to. Demon versus Fiend.
No, that's not gonna happen. If they're gonna have
Shut
Fiend,
up.
fuck you.
No, it should happen. But continue.
So Bray is the first person to beat the Demon.
100%. I agree with that.
And now Finn goes away, takes some time off, comes back as the leader of the club. But it also gets you away from the cartoonish demon gimmick that you kind of had. And also now you can build up yourself. Because it seems to me right now like Finn can't win the big one without the demon. Mm-hmm. You need to change that. Otherwise, Finn's only going to be the demon.
I think that's wonderful booking. I think Fiend going over being the first person to beat the demon at SummerSlam this year would be spectacular. And then you're right. Nick, you were talking about it. Very much so. Finn has said he wanted to take a little bit of time off. And that's great. And then you bring Finn back, let's say, Survivor Series. Oh,
Royal Rumble.
No. Survivor Series. Who's going to be and let's say you do add a fourth person,
Go
or
back
a
to
4-on-4
4-on-4.
or a 5-on-5. Let's say
Yeah.
you do add a fourth person, and then there's a special person that comes in with the club, and it comes out to be fucking Finn Balor, who's been leading it this entire fucking time.
Shit everywhere.
Yeah. Oh,
Like the Wizard of Oz, he's the one pulling the
right.
strings.
100%. Smitty, you said you had a question for me regarding the.
I had a suggestion. Like if it was not Finn, even though it's one of the best stables within the WWE banner right now. Another member who's also been a member of the Bullet Club, maybe what is Adam? They call up Adam Cole. At that point, Adam Cole was a prominent member of Bullet Club.
Wait a minute.
I honestly think they're building the club right now to take on an Arrow when they come up.
I would.
AJ's been talking
And then it'd
shit.
be 4-on-3, and you add
Just
Finn.
for him.
So let me ask you a question, Smitty. You're saying that it'll never happen. Demon versus Fiend, right? That's what you said. You're saying that the top merch sales team of NXT is more likely to break up with Adam going to the club than Demon versus Fiend and Demon losing to Fiend?
I think they'll be more worried. Like if it comes to the main roster, they'll be more worried on protecting Finn than they would about anything coming out of NXT right now.
I need you to look at it this way, though, right? So Bray hasn't wrestled in, what, a year and a half?
Almost a year.
Okay.
Not a year yet.
So he comes back, and he's got this new fucking gimmick. And his mask, by the way, looks a lot better now than it did when he first debuted it. It looked cheap and rubbery when he first debuted it. Now it looks like an actual
Detailed.
fitted mask. But what better way to give Bray the rub going into this? He hasn't wrestled, and now he's the first person to give Balor a loss when he's dressed as the demon. Like, that's all the push you need.
Yeah.
Well, we've seen just the way they book this company books Bray in general.
No, we saw
Booked.
how.
Bray.
You're past tense. Let's see what happens going forward,
we
especially
saw-
because there's a new direction like we all keep talking about.
I think people are going to love this new Fiend character. By the way, that mask design, I believe the same guy that designed a lot of Slipknot masks.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
No, he's the guy that did it.
And
He's the guy who did it.
It's fucking fantastic. I think WWE, to go back to the club, when was the last time there was a really dominant stable, faction, whatever the fuck you want to
3MB.
call them? I mean, really.
New Day.
So,
I mean, yeah, New Day would be the
New Day, but like a heel stable that just fucking owned it.
New Day.
No.
era.
When they were heel?
No.
Yeah.
Dude, New Day hasn't owned shit until now.
No, when New Day when they first started that legendary title reign, they started as heels. They had a face turn midway through.
As what? Tag team champions?
Yeah.
Oh, where was the third title? They haven't owned shit.
But they weren't.
They own shit now.
Like, they weren't main eventing shit.
Right.
And,
top heel faction. You got to go back to like Evolution. Or
Evolution is the
And
best
there
one.
you go.
I think
And that's what I'll
the
talk about.
club would be great right now. It'd be awesome timing.
Yeah, there hasn't been a
They've
faction
they've
that's done
tried
anything
it.
in NXT.
Well, they've tried it multiple times with different people, like the League of Nations, and just recently with McIntyre, Lashley, and Elias. But you didn't do anything with
Right.
it. So
Yeah, that would be it. The last time a heel faction ran shit.
Legacy.
Sorry,
it would be Legacy.
Legacy,
last
actually.
time-
Yeah, because that came after
Yeah,
Evolution.
because or it was WWE champion while Cody and DiBiase
Yep.
were tag champs.
Yeah, exactly. That's it, man. That's right there. And I feel that the club could built properly. I mean, it already has a huge fucking following. Like, I'm honestly surprised they didn't walk out on Raw with brand new shirts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you kidding me? You fucking give me a new shirt.
You're heel though, so you don't.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't fucking
I
Bullet
know.
Club
Well,
was heel.
I get
Bullet
it.
Club itself was heel.
But they're probably in the works
Until
of making
Kenny
up
took
the new
over.
logo.
Hmm?
They're probably in the works of making up the new logo.
Fine by me. You give me a new fucking shirt for the club, I'd purchase that bitch.
Buy one, get one for $1.
What if it's just that gas mask that AJ has on his tights?
Or that they've used for...
Well, the
what
one,
are you using is Japan
You know what?
tours?
They did come out with new shirts. Now that you're talking about it,
Yeah, it says Gallows, Anderson, and Styles on the back.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's
The
not,
old
that's
one,
not
isn't it?
available on WWE Shop.
Okay,
That,
but
that
it
shirt
was new. Like
available-
I've never seen that shirt before.
It was available in Japan. That's where they got it. They
Okay.
put it in Japan.
Yeah, it was for the Japanese tour.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what I'm referring to is if you give me something for the United States market that I can purchase myself, it's very possible I'm going to go purchase that.
All right, real quick though, spitballing. If Finn's the fourth, Shinsuke's the fifth.
No.
Nope, because Shinsuke was one of the people that was always against the Bullet Club, no matter what.
But we're rewhite. I can't fucking say it.
Why are you stuck? Like, okay, you know how we make comments about how JR and we're weird about Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff being stuck in the old guard to make anything good? You're stuck in the old guard. You refuse to adapt. Therefore, you're going to perish because you don't understand evolution.
So for me, it's not really about adapting. This is something new to a new audience.
Correct. So they can put anybody in there. So why not Shinsuke?
Fucking Elias.
Like you're talking. Well, in Japan, Shinsuke was against it. Like no, but in America, where nobody really knows him right now, he's for it.
I just imagine.
He's Elias in a
Just
Bullet
imagine
Club.
Elias behind Styles, Gallows, and Anderson
Playing the
the theme song on his fucking electric guitar. Hello, I'm Elias. And this is the club.
You do that list really well.
I practice a lot with Heather Kaufman's list. So ridiculous. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, Z, let's move on to you with your Extreme Rules. What stood out the most to you that popped that you were like, man, this was really good. Besides the White Claws at B-Dubs.
Oh, wow. So you did notice.
That's a hard sell.
White Claws,
Yes, it was.
Trulies.
Yes, I agree. White Claw is a hard sell, sir.
I know, it was like right before we got in, I was like, I'm pretty sure Mikey didn't notice it, and you just said that.
Didn't notice how many White Claws he had? I called him out on the $30 of just White Claws alone on our tab.
It was 56.
That's when you added the Trulies to it.
Oh, whatever.
Oh no, that you paid on that you put on the card.
Yeah,
Yeah, $30 on that tab was just White Claws.
yeah. You're welcome. I plan to pay for it.
No,
I
that's
did
fine.
pay for it.
I'm not
Anyways.
giving you shit.
Well, you should, because the end of the pay per view is a little foggy.
I know.
Shock factor wise, Corbin with the end of days on Becky.
Okay.
I didn't think we were going that route just yet. But they went. I thought if anything it would have been Corbin and the disarmer, but they went a complete 180.
Guy hitting a woman.
Yep.
I don't know if you know this or not, but that leads to domestic violence. It promotes domestic violence. Guy on female violence. In
Cue the Law and Order.
Fuck you.
Whatever. She had.
I watched Slammiversary.
She has no soul anyway. It's cool. So as far as shock factor, like that was good.
Sorry, no, I just wish our finisher was called the Desolar.
Get Heyman on the line. As far as match of the night, I really enjoyed Kofi and Joe.
Yeah?
I did. And as
I said that, oh my god, shit.
and as far as like moment of the night, again it'd go back to Becky taking the end of days because that just caught me off guard. Like I knew eventually they were going to at least push the boundaries, kind of see, especially the way they went with this
Yeah, they
intergender
totally
match.
just jumped. Yeah.
Yeah, and they just went, they go fuck it, like jump it in head first, like fuck it, let's see what happens. Well,
It was such a jump that someone probably wants to build a wall around it again.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Too many drugs. and
Probably get the other side to pay for it though. Sorry. No, like I again thought they were building to it. I thought there'd be more feelers. No, we're just gonna do it.
Boom.
It's that what's that saying? Do it and apologize later, or
It's
But
easier
You
to
can
ask.
ask permission. It's easier
easier
to
to
ask
ask forgiveness than
than ask
permission.
Yep.
yeah. So I think that that's that Heyman philosophy.
Sorry, I was talking to the.
I love how it's
And now,
separate shaded
I'm stopping our conversation on Extreme Rules, Nick, because I do want to ask his question about the banner. Is that what it was? Is that everything's a
Yeah,
separate
the
sheet of
fact that like when I was in 5th grade, this is what we used to do. It was just each letter was a piece of paper. No, and they just fold
those printers. Yeah,
With the fucking things
I was like,
on the side, little
wait,
holes.
you
you
got-
just
didn't
tear
have
off.
banner mode. Like, you know what? Kelly probably made this at the copier at work.
she did.
They're like, what's
Not the copy of the printer, like
Who's
she made.
who's
that
by?
makes sense to me.
Who's by over there?
Hey boys.
Yeah, like it's
Apparently, I am. See, I saw the joke coming. I kind of tried to intercept
Not
it.
the only thing he saw coming that he intercepted.
A lot of cupcakes and a lot of frosting over here.
That's
What
not
his
what I
favorite
thought. It
comic,
was just pretty simple for you,
Spider-Man.
Nick. Moment of the pay per view, and it could possibly be along with the match of the night that you consider.
Well,
It's a good bar.
I didn't have as many White Claws as Z.
that's a shame.
He has his own White Claw.
I
His
did.
left hand.
Wham! Claw.
His hands feel kind of funny.
The moment of the night was when Z discovered that I didn't have a nipple on my left side of my body.
Wait, did that really
Might not
happen?
remember that.
He wouldn't remember.
Oh yeah, that was after the pay per view was over.
Oh yeah. See, don't ask me shit about that.
No, I do agree with him that
For real though, you don't have.
I laugh because we've already discussed this on the show and in this fucking room.
Yeah, still drawing a blank.
the
Just like his nipple.
I have so many
Touche.
questions at the show that I probably already asked.
the end of days on Becky, I do have to agree, I was very caught off guard with that because I was like, holy shit, they really did it.
Not as much as you guys were.
You know what, though? The Undertaker match, I got to say, a great way to kick off the pay-per-view. I knew that they were kicking off the pay-per-view with that match a couple hours before. It had leaked on some site.
WWE.com.
Yeah, some site. And but
Thanks for the free advertisement for on there, Smitty.
it was nice to see Undertaker bounce back from that god-awful Goldberg match. And it was an entertaining match. The crowd was hot. We were hot. I mean, they were. And
Sorry, I laugh. I'm not mocking what you said at all. It made me laugh because there was a huge botch in that match. That wasn't because some dude had a fucking concussion after dinging. It was because Shane didn't know how to run and jump and get into the tombstone.
Almost
Do it again.
You're about to finish.
Yeah. So that's
did
but
that
I
with
still
the
agree
Just
with
like
100%. If you're talking what I heard, because I haven't watched a single Saudi show. I mean, two. from WWE since the
Greatest
The
Royal
original
Rumble.
Super Showdown?
Yeah, like I watched that, and then
Greatest Royal Rumble.
then there was the situation that happened before the last one. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I understand they're under contract. I'm not going to say they need to pull out. We've already discussed this. But
Money's
I
already
have
here.
to watch it. Continue, sir. But yeah, since obviously the botch, there was still a bunch. Yep.
But yeah, I thought that was one of the better.
Botches of the night.
Right. But no, it was a great way to kick the show off. It got the crowd pumped. But yeah, definitely. And you know what? I even enjoyed the fact that after Becky got the end of days, yeah, okay, it's Seth and he's defending his girlfriend and, blah, blah, blah. But the fact that he went ham, I'm going to use that term here. Use the code word ham on Smitty'sMeatsTonight.com. 20% off. But he fucking annihilated Baron Corbin with the kendo stick, and it was a great reaction. I thought that was really entertaining.
I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No, you're fine.
Let me ask you then, because I read something. I'm not going to say who. They said it seemed to be that Becky needed her man to defend her. Is that how you felt with that, or did you feel like that's the way that any significant other, man or woman or not, should act when somebody takes some, like, that's kind of like, so Lacey comes out and she hits Seth in the jewels. Becky comes out and beats the shit out of Lacey.
Yeah.
And a pay-per-view ago.
Right.
Well, Baron Corbin fucking laid his hands on Becky, so Seth goes nuts on Baron Corbin for touching his woman. Is it defending her, or, oh, I can handle this a little bit? I'm not saying women can't defend themselves, anything like that. I don't want anyone to go anywhere with this. But do you feel it was better? Obviously, so that's how Seth should have reacted?
I think so. I think that's how anyone in real life would have reacted. I mean, he didn't push her to the ground. He gave her his finishing move. For all intents and purposes, it's the end of days.
In other words,
for Becky.
situation-wise,
Right.
it makes sense.
So, I mean, I think the way he reacted was fine. I mean, yeah, okay, Becky beat the crap out of Lacey for hitting him in the nuts, whatever, but I think it was definitely different for Seth.
And it wasn't him like, my woman needs to be defended. It was, this is how
No, because
you hurt my woman.
Yeah, it's not like
I'm about to fuck you up.
It's not like Seth was anywhere in the vicinity. Baron caught up with Becky and put her ass down.
Okay.
Yeah, you
Fuck
can't
you.
accidentally give somebody the end of days. Like, there's
Right.
too much to it.
Right, he didn't accidentally run her over or anything. He put her ass down.
Okay.
I'm not in the same boat when it comes to end of day spot. Like,
because you like beating women.
No, it's not that. Because like I say,
stereotype.
Fuck you. I will beat your ass. But
you didn't even have a nipple.
You ain't got nipples on your ass, motherfucker.
He's the real minority here.
So
you're just tan.
So my thing about that was like this. Okay, I've watched Lucha Underground. I watched AAA. I watched Impact. And last Saturday there was a full blown intergender match that I watched. So Becky taking a one spot. Yes, the situation made it cool. Made it seem cool for Seth to go out, blow up. But I watched Tessa Blanchard and Sami Callihan last Saturday beat the dog shit out of each other in an actual full-blown match where they both took spots from each other.
Yeah, on a TV-14 show, not a PG show. That's what I'm pointing out.
Does it matter? I feel like WWE is still they're playing with kid gloves in an industry where kid gloves are not necessary.
Oh, they don't want to go that far.
PG.
They don't want to go that far with women and men.
I'll say
don't wanna do it.
that's the whole PG part.
Well, there's a lot of. Aren't they trying to pull away from that? It seems like
Pete Zagarine will be fucking gone in a minute.
Pete Zagarine.
One, Smitty, I'm not going to say you're wrong, because they are playing with kid gloves, and they're supposed to play with kid gloves, because no matter what, any other company that you watch is not a publicly traded, super paid to advertise on company. They can never. I'm not saying that women can't handle a guy, because if there's any,
It's just a bad look.
Herself could beat the shit out of straight.
What?
Shoot.
Oh, yeah.
Beat the fuck out of a lot of guys
Yep.
on that roster.
Yeah, absolutely.
However, in a situation like that, where she caught the end of days out of nowhere, I don't. Give
I'm
a
not
shit.
denying
No,
that
no.
part. That point.
So Tessa Blanchard and Sami Callihan went toe to toe in a main event for Impact Slammiversary.
Slammiversary.
Becky caught the end of days out of nowhere. Becky, who is 2/3 the size of Corbin, okay, caught a move that she was not expecting out of nowhere. For the most part, Tessa Blanchard and Sami Callihan
Are the same size.
No, Tessa's actually a little bit taller.
on. Thanks for continuing to make my.
Oh no, because
doesn't
actually,
matter because they
it makes
were
more
in
of my point too. But
They were in a match against each other. Becky was in a match that she was not supposed to be touched by that other person. So even more so, catching something off guard would take her out of that. So it's not like she's weaker than him. It's if somebody bigger than you catches anybody off guard, somebody bigger.
Do you know
I
what
don't
the
care
cactus
if you-
special
I don't care
is?
if you have the same fucking. Becky can fucking squat 375 pounds. Baron can squat 450 pounds. Okay, so let's just say similar areas right there. But even still, he is bigger, and he catches her off guard.
Not to mention, let's add the fact that who's really ever kicked out at the end of days. So it's a
Reigns.
strong finisher.
Reigns is kicked out of it. Strowman is kicked out of it.
More so to my point, it's a strong finisher, so not too many people kick out of it.
Corbin never hit the end of days on Strowman.
Yeah, there's no fucking way.
Well, Reigns at least.
Okay, I'll give you that, but still,
Wait, now you're just making shit up.
No.
No. Anyway, Smitty, so they're supposed to play with kid gloves. And the spot that they had it happen is a situation where anyone, if you, Smitty, were hit with that, okay, maybe not the end of days, but again, if anyone hit you with
I'm about to say, did we have this whole
conversation?
conversation about how the end of the days
Is the
like
self
he
rock
hurts his-
bottom.
Yeah.
It's the worst fucking finisher in wrestling. He basically goes, hey, fall and then fall back and give me a rock bottom.
It looks sweet.
I agree, but it's mostly the person
Yeah, well,
getting the move rather than the person.
you ruined it for me when you
But
put
do you
it
know
in
what
that
Sami Callihan's
perspective originally.
You know what Sami
But
Callihan's
it-
special is? It's called the Cactus Special. It's a sitting
I
spike
don't
pile
care.
driver.
We're not talking about
When I first heard that, the giving yourself the rock bottom, I visualized it in my head. I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, thanks.
You're literally
because
going,
because
"I'm gonna fall
before,
back."
like I'm watching Dolph Ziggler and Baron Corbin, so it was good, and just out of nowhere, end of days, I'm like, oh sweet. Now I'm just like, oh fucking rock bottom. Fucking asshole.
Sorry.
Technically, Corbin should have lost every match.
It's a self-uranagi because that's what rock bottom is, uranagi. Anyway, so that's their kid gloves, but in a way to where it makes sense to why that happened. Because if you took a real super kick from someone that you were only 2/3 the size of, and you did not know it was coming, you'd be knocked the fuck out too. I'd be knocked the fuck out. Z would be knocked the fuck out. Nick would be knocked the fuck. Anybody who is 2/3 the size of anyone getting something for real with their full power, you're gonna get knocked the fuck out.
Remember the one time you took that elbow and you knew it was coming?
So
There's a prison video I can show you that somebody didn't see that shit coming.
I am going to give my situation on Extreme Rules. Match of the night, Black and Cesaro. Fucking loved it. When
It
I
started
first
slow.
watched it,
Doesn't matter.
yes,
Great
no,
match.
I agree. I agree with you 100%, Smitty. I was like, this match is nowhere near what I expected. What the fuck are they doing? And that was the first 5 minutes. And then it got so goddamn good that I didn't care about the first 5 minutes anymore. And then I even sat back and rewatched it, and I was like, I see everything they're setting up now. I see this story. I was mad at myself for judging it so hard after the first 5 minutes. That to me was match of the night. I think everything was great. I'm not saying there was a horrible match because there wasn't. Like Nick said, Undertaker had a fucking match that we sat back and going, man, what a great fucking kickoff to this show. You know? Strowman and Bobby Lashley in a last man standing was spectacular.
Outside
as
the
well.
finish.
I'm sorry, the Kool-Aid Man wins all the time.
Fuck off. Oh, yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
my spot of the night was the 17-second match. Because it genuinely put Owens over in a great way.
As a babyface, yeah.
No, not what I'm talking about. Owens hit that stunner out of nowhere, obviously, and then pinned Ziggler quickly. With the momentum that Owens has, that was the only way that match should have gone, in hindsight, rewatching it. Because any type of real competition that ended in a random stunner would not have given Owens that proper pop and push that he deserved with that. And that's exactly what that did. So if that was Heyman or whomever.
That's Bischoff.
No, it wasn't. Bischoff hasn't had a fucking hand in anything WWE.
He wasn't even at SmackDown yesterday.
Yep, at all. So whether it was Heyman that said, you know what, let's do this with this, or it was Vince. I don't care who it was. What a random creative guy. Whoever gave that idea after that match was put on that card was genius. That's the best moment that Owens could have had with it. So to me, that was the moment of the night because of what it did for Kevin Owens' character in WWE. Z, you have a question?
I do. With your favorite match of the night being my second favorite match of the night, I have to ask you a question. And how did you feel about the rematch on SmackDown? Did you? I mean, I'll tell you my point of view first.
Okay.
I wasn't cool with it at all because it seemed like a Cesaro squash match right after that awesome match they had at the pay-per-view. But at the same time, I thought about it, and Shane even says, like, as he's walking down to the ring, like, oh, you're a Raw superstar. What are you doing here, blah, blah, blah. So if they're going back to separate brands, like, okay, that's one way to end the feud. And he didn't exactly look weak. He just made Alistair look really good. You know what I mean? So what were your thoughts?
I don't want to say it was a squash match because it's not like
He did get some offensive.
It's not like and decent technical offense.
Yep.
And,
Oh no, even that big boot right when he switched momentum. I mean, it didn't last long, but it was a good match for how short it was, in my opinion.
And yes, and that's what it is. As long I don't care. Matches like that.
And
it was a much more equal contest at Extreme Rules.
Yes.
And yes, Cesaro looked weaker to Aleister Black, but at the same time, it shows Aleister Black and how he learns from his opponents to move forward rather than. I don't feel it killed any of Cesaro's momentum because he's, there's that old adage. It doesn't matter who goes over; it matters if you get over. And both guys, I still feel got over in that match.
And part of the reason I consider it a squash match is half of that match was a little blurb while there was a commercial.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the match starts, okay, this is good. They come back. Cesaro's got a little bit of momentum. Then Black Mass, it's over, which is fine because now you're making the Black Mass as devastating as it should be. Mm-hmm. But and Cesaro even spit out his mouth guard and sold it a little more,
right?
Which just goes to how good he is. I just don't want to see him get buried again because they're actually finally giving him something.
I don't think he's going to get buried. I feel that they are setting him up for good things in the future. Obviously,
I could see a good showing in the Rumble for him.
It could even come down to a match between them at the Rumble, and maybe Cesaro goes over, or this builds up to Mania.
Yeah,
where Cesaro
I was
goes
thinking
over
that
over Black because it's his Achilles heel right now,
yep.
And that's fine. I'm all right with that.
Also, for now, they're on separate shows.
That was going to my point. Let's say I think this is where the wild card rule, to a certain degree, has a good factor to it.
I think
having a Raw superstar lose to a SmackDown superstar on their brand, on their designated brand, I don't think it hurts them too much.
Yeah, I think it's a good build. Now, we're almost done here. I know we said we were going to get a Raw and SmackDown and the repercussions. Smitty, are you okay with Seth Rollins being the challenger for Brock Lesnar's title at SummerSlam?
Yeah, I'm all right with it. It's just proving the whole thing when they said about no rematches is just bullshit. They just found a way to they just find a creative way to get somebody a rematch.
That's fine. It's still not a rematch.
It's still the same thing. They just found a creative way to get an
opportunity. He's the number one contender. He's not going for a rematch. He earned an opportunity. Nick, how do you feel about Seth Rollins being your number one contender for the Universal title?
I'm okay with it. I mean, this has got to be it, though.
If he doesn't win?
Yeah.
All right. Z?
Z It's got to be it.
How do you feel about Seth Rollins being the new number 1 contender for the Universal Championship?
I didn't mind it. I thought the name of the battle royal was a little kid glovish. Is that what we're going with now?
But yeah, I want
Crossman
to.
All-Star Top 10 Battle Royal.
Yeah, say that 10 times fast.
Crossman All-Star Top 10.
All right, I wasn't being serious.
He got one of the biggest pops out of that thing, though. That was cool.
I don't mind it. I mean, and here's the thing. It's one of those things where they stuck with the fact that they're like, all right, listen, we're not giving anybody rematches. Like, that you don't.
Somebody just try to argue, this is a different way to give him a rematch.
Yeah, but he earned it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they wasn't just given to you because you have some contractual thing. It was, I had to fight 10 other fucking guys, and I won. So
I say it's a creative way outside of the whole to give somebody a rematch without the whole contract negotiate, the whole contractual thing.
So, I'm bored with Rollins. As
I am too. I have
in the main event, and I said it on Twitter after that happened. They're literally Rollins right now is the Roman Reigns. Sorry, he's winning everything. He loses here to make him look a little bit weak, and then comes right back in this strong motherfucker. The only difference is he's going up against Brock, and even Roman went up against Brock and lost a few times.
I don't think he's going to go over at SummerSlam.
I don't think so either.
I don't either.
And my final point for Raw or SmackDown this week is a question for Smitty. Remember earlier when I said I wasn't baiting you into something? It was a legit question. This is 100% a bait. So I'm just wanna.
You get the bell ready.
I'm letting you know. Do you remember when you said you didn't like how Shane McMahon had his stable of boys and giving them? Listen to me. And the only reason that you hated, don't leave it alone. The only reason you hated where Drew McIntyre was is because they killed him with the Roman Reigns push and then made him look like crap afterwards. To which Shane McMahon then brought him out of obscurity, which we're arguing that it's a good thing for Drew. Well, then on Raw, Drew McIntyre had a match without Shane McMahon and got pinned quickly by Cedric Alexander, who had not been featured on Raw until last week, and then this week got the win over Drew McIntyre. So you hated how Drew McIntyre was being used with Shane McMahon, and they fed him to Roman Reigns to kill him. Well, this week, he was fed to a former cruiserweight that beat him. Are you still mad? Or is it okay because it's Cedric Alexander and not Roman Reigns?
Once again, this is one of the things I'll have a mix of things. Like, I'm a Sid fan, but I'm also a Drew fan. I am upset to the fact that he was fed to Alexander, but I'm also happy to see Cedric get TV time and get a W.
So it's okay to you?
No.
It's not okay that he lost.
It's not okay that he lost.
Why?
I would say, once again,
I don't care about. I'm not. Why isn't it okay he lost?
At this point, he needs something. He needs something to actually validate him. The immediate L after even though he didn't take the pin on Sunday. It's
you know what immediately validates him? Shane McMahon.
with Shane McMahon. Let's go back to Kevin Owens' point. Shane does not need to be on TV.
But he's going to be.
So it's not okay that he lost to Cedric Alexander. You think he should have beat Cedric Alexander?
I think he needed the W back for sure.
So he should have won against Cedric Alexander.
I feel like it would have made better sense if he won. Yes.
So you're of the mind state that Drew McIntyre's push was killed by being fed to Roman Reigns. Do you think this kills him further by being fed to Cedric Alexander?
To a certain degree, yes.
Okay.
I know you try to bait me into it, but I'll give you my honest opinion.
I'm not. That's me then saying Now, let me ask you this, Smitty. So are you saying that you feel Drew was better with Shane McMahon rather than what he had just endured after losing on Extreme Rules?
No, I think you put
No? Why not?
Because at that point on Monday, you put him in a position to actually put him in a better position outside of Shane.
Okay, but they gave him the loss. So, and you're saying he shouldn't have lost. So you're saying that that's still a better position losing to Cedric Alexander than being featured with wins and incredible matches with Shane McMahon?
I think it's almost the same.
So a loss to Cedric Alexander is the same as being featured in main event matches with wins with Shane McMahon.
No, because at that point you're part of at that point you're just part of something. You're not. He's not being. He's featured as a piece. A loss, you may take the L, but you're still featured as yourself.
Did
You're
he get
individual
over
entity.
in that match at all?
No, not really. He looked like an idiot. He did look like an idiot for sure.
Did he ever look like an idiot with Shane?
No, he looked like a goon with Shane. He didn't he didn't have a brain of his own.
But it's okay for Luke Gallows.
But Luke Gallows, throughout most of his career, he's always been a goon. I want you to go back and tell me one time he had a decent singles career.
I'm not trying to. I'm saying that. So it's okay for certain wrestlers to look like goons, but not for Drew McIntyre, who should be a main eventer.
Well, see, McIntyre
Drew is
also
the perfect goon. He really is. He's huge.
Which once
He's
again,
tall.
you've not watched Drew McIntyre as long as some people have.
Again,
I've been watching him since he was in 3MB. How much longer can you watch him for? I watched his
Before
Impact run. I watched all the shit.
Okay, where he had great singles run, he wasn't a goon.
Okay, so back to
Watch his Evolve run, he wasn't a goon.
Okay, so you're saying that he's no better now, or worse than he was when he was with Shane McMahon.
Exactly.
But he lost.
Taking a loss to Cedric Alexander in a glorified squash.
When you're
he
6'5",
he didn't
240.
get much offense off, if at all.
And Braun Strowman looked great when he was losing dumpster matches to Kalisto.
No, I'm not talking about Braun Strowman. I think I 100%
When did Strowman
agree.
lose? He tossed him in a fucking dumpster.
I 100% agree that Braun Strowman was utilized incredibly wrong. I, though, also say that Drew McIntyre was better off with Shane McMahon than he was losing to Cedric Alexander on Raw. You, on the other hand,
That's just
sir,
pure mathematics.
are just sitting there to argue a point that is moot, that makes no sense.
No, I say you pretty much made him like a brainless goon since he's been back on the main roster in general.
Which was
See,
better with
hold
Shane
on.
McMahon than losing to Cedric Alexander.
You haven't made him look brainless. You just made him look like a goon. I mean, the guy gets on the mic and talks. I mean, he doesn't sound like an idiot. So he's not brainless.
He's Diesel without the actual winning for work shit. Well, let me rephrase that. He's Diesel without having any payoff.
But
First of all, I see two good quads.
So Diesel without payoff. How do you know there's no payoff?
So since he's been back, how long he's been back? Almost 6 months now.
Ooh, a whole 6 months?
A whole half a year.
But you're saying there's no payoff. How long was Diesel with Shawn Michaels before he went and
A
became
year.
Yeah,
a year before he
No,
even wrestled
not
a match. He was his bodyguard for a year before he ever wrestled a match.
And at that point,
Take that shit to the
Diesel within the WWF did not have a track record. McIntyre's had a track record within WWE and outside of WWE.
Right, he had a
As
track
one of the
record-
most dangerous people in the WWE.
a track record that killed his push. That when he was with Shane McMahon was being built back up.
Which, once again, that goes back to my original point. They shouldn't have killed him that way.
But your original point doesn't matter, sir. You're saying that he needed to be built back up. Yet, when he left Shane McMahon, the first thing they did with him was have him lose in a glorified squash match to a cruiserweight. And yet you're still saying that's just as bad even. It's equal with him being with Shane McMahon.
It keeps him on the same level.
But Shane being with Shane
No,
McMahon.
I think being with losing to Cedric Alexander, I think knocks you down a peg or two. At least when you're with Shane McMahon, you're like top heel or second to top heel in the fucking company. Here, you're just some dude who lost to a fucking cruiserweight. In the other scenario, you're top 2 in the company as far as heels go.
So you're saying that, so he didn't fall at all losing to Cedric?
I feel like you're still in the same position.
So you felt that he never got better after leaving the Reigns run with Shane? Because I feel losing to Cedric
I feel he got more
Alexander,
TV time, and that's about it.
I feel losing to Cedric Alexander put him right back to how bad he was against when he was facing Reigns.
Yep. I was going to say, if not worse. Losing to Reigns is one thing. Losing to Cedric Alexander when you're 6'5", 250 some odd fucking pounds versus a guy who's literally as big as your leg.
I might have a different opinion next week if he faces Cedric Alexander and beats him, or even after SummerSlam.
I think this is Cedric's little push.
The fact that you just lost to Ced, who hasn't been on TV.
Like
other than
McIntyre
the
should
week
destroy
before.
him in the next match. Like if they meet at SummerSlam, and let's say they don't meet between now and SummerSlam, the SummerSlam match should be like a minute of Drew just beating the shit out of Cedric. If you're going to build him back to that
you
heel.
destroyed Cedric Alexander.
No, I wouldn't complain about that because personally, as a fan of Cedric Alexander, I was happy to see him win. But everything else, I was angry to see Drew McIntyre take that L after the night before.
Mm-hmm. That's fine. And I stand by the fact that you're going to just argue your point no matter how wrong you feel you are.
I don't feel
Wrong. Wrong.
Use the code wrong, and you get 35% off of Smitty's minutes. 35% because
I'm
that's how
sorry,
many seconds it took
wrong
Cedric
percentage. We meant
Alexander to beat-
30. Hashtag wrong is 30%, not 35. We were wrong again.
Ain't no meats like Smitty meats.
And don't worry about that smell. That's how you know it's wrong.
I ain't never been burning like some people in this room, probably.
Joe's oven, your meat. I mean, we got a whole smorgasbord over here.
Once again, I've never been burned like certain people here in this room, probably.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either because I don't even sunburn. I just tan.
Right. I don't even. Oh,
Yeah.
You're right. I do take sunburns. My kid mocked me for that the other day.
Did she?
Fuck that.
She smack you on the back.
She goes, "Dad, do you sunburn?" It's like, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh, I don't. I must have got that from Mom." Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for us. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you follow us on all of our social media at BDRcast. Breaking Down the Ring on YouTube, youtube.com/Breaking Down the Ring. We are your ring crew.
Smitty, I was drinking.
Yes,
Moot.
Z.
Your new ring crew champion.
Nikki Cross.
Nikki Bella.
I swear next time he's got to go
And
Nikki like
for
he first
Joe, the whole effing Joe, I am the almighty one. Thank you so much to everybody who wished me a happy birthday. I really appreciate it in the comments on the show. Thank you so much, and we are out.